This is 5 on your side at 5. Focused on you.
And we begin at 5 with breaking news just into the newsroom. Within the last 30 minutes, we've been able to confirm that 3 St. Louis police officers are injured. One of those officers was shot, another stabbed, and it's unclear right now how that third officer was injured.
And again, this is information that we're still getting into the newsroom. We're still trying to get things confirmed. So what we will be telling you is confirmed information. It happened in the 5700 block of Kingsbury. That is in the Bolivar neighborhood just north of Forest Park. And it happened at or near the Winter Green Apartments. Right now, we do not know the conditions of the officers, but we do know they are alive. Also, one suspect was shot. That suspect is alive. We are told all of the victims were taken to Barnes Hospital, and apparently there was another suspect, and that suspect is in custody. Here is a live look along Kings Highway. This is our 100 above the park camera. As you can see, there are a bunch of police officers, so you can only assume they were taken to Barnes Jewish Hospital. It's customary when an officer is shot that they come support their comrades, and they are there to see how the officers are doing. We do have a crew on the scene, and we are getting a crew at Barnes Jewish Hospital.
That's right. If you're familiar with this area, it's not far from the Forest Park area. And as you can see from this live picture right now, a very busy scene, and you can even see traffic is being impacted at some point here as well. I'm sure police working to keep people away from the scene, and of course, a lot of activity outside of that hospital where the victims are being taken.
And that's already a busy area, especially at this time of the day.
That's
at 5 o'clock. Kings
right.
Highway is always busy. This is right across from Forest Park. Again, this is breaking news. 3 officers injured, and we do not know the extent of their injuries or where they were shot, but we do know that it was shot along the 5700 block of Kingsbury.
Kingsbury, and that is in the Skinker de Bolivar neighborhood. Again, if you're just joining us at 5:01 right now, 3 police officers shot. We have confirmed that those officers work for the St. Louis Police Department.
And, oh, sorry.
I just wanted to say we don't know what led up to this just
Right.
yet.
Yeah, apparently one of the suspects is in custody. The other suspect is injured. And we are also told that is an area where there are a lot of apartments.
That is true.
This one happened apparently at the Winter Green Apartments. Again, we're still trying to find out how this all took place, and we will bring you the very latest on that. We do have a crew on the way, and to get the very latest on this evolving situation.
We are learning that this is, there have been multiple officers shot in the city this year.
3.
3 at least, and so this would bring it to at least 5 because we have 2 others, 3 shot or injured somehow today.
And as we are still getting information, I'm going to check to see if we're getting any other information. In addition to an officer being shot, we are also told that an officer was stabbed.
That is correct.
Again, we don't know the extent of his injuries. This is an ever-changing story, so once we get more information, we will be sure to pass this along to you.
And I want to point out 3 officers injured. We're working to figure out, we know 1 was shot, 1 was stabbed, but we don't know how that 3rd officer was injured.
And we don't know the situation that led up to the shooting and stabbing, but we do know at least 1 suspect is in custody. You can see traffic along Kings Highway is starting to back up. You can see a bunch of police officer vehicles at Barnes Jewish Hospital. Again, we do not know the conditions of these officers. Robert Townsend is on the scene at Kingsbury Place, at Kingsbury. Robert, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Hey, we just got here just minutes ago. I'm going to step back and kind of paint you a picture here. You're seeing lots of crime scene tape wrapped around this parking lot just outside the Winter Garden Apartments. Again, this is what we just learned. That again, a St. Louis source is telling us this all happened here in the 5700 block of Kingsbury in the de Bolivar Place neighborhood. Now we're hearing, again, it happened at or near Winter Garden Apartments. Right now we have no word on the wounded police officer's condition. A source telling 5 on your side just minutes ago, again, I heard you guys kind of mention this, 3 police officers were actually injured. 1 officer was shot, we're told, another stabbed. All this while responding to an incident apparently at an apartment unit here at Winter Garden Apartments on Kingsbury. Now we're also hearing that a suspect was shot. Right now we do not know the extent of the 3rd officer's injuries, but again, we're told everybody at this hour is alive. Again, it's a very active scene here. We're seeing lots of residents standing around here in this parking lot. Jimmy, pan a little bit over here so they can see what I'm talking about. You got people sitting and standing in this parking lot. You've got officers obviously standing here on the ready. We see this crime scene tape. You've got police officers, you've got firefighters, and definitely lots of media still pulling up. But again, we're just getting here minutes ago, but again, we understand that at least 3 officers were injured, 1 officer shot, 1 officer stabbed, and again, at this hour, we do not know the status of the 3rd officer's injuries, but of course, I'm working this and trying to get the latest for you, and that's all I can tell you at this point. Brent, Kelly?
There. Now, since you're on the scene, you see the people who live there. Does it appear to be secure right now? And are people still inside of the apartments? Have they been told to evacuate? Just paint the picture from the resident perspective of what you see at those apartments.
Well, again, pan over here to my right, Jimmy, and then let's show them. You've got several people who live here. Obviously, these are people who live in this apartment building. I've not had a chance to talk to any of them. I don't know for sure if the building has been evacuated. We can assume so, considering that we're talking about a violent shooting scene that happened here sometime this afternoon within the past hour or so. But I'm looking at several officers. Detectives are also walking around this parking lot talking to people, obviously trying to talk to witnesses about what they saw, what they heard, just trying to get a better idea of exactly what happened. And if we come back this way, you can see officers back there, bulletproof vests. They're talking to each other. Obviously, they're on their phones. Firefighters are also standing by. This is a very, very serious developing story when you're talking about officers being shot and stabbed. We're trying to find out exactly more, and we'll have much more as we continue to watch this breaking news. Back to you guys.
Robert, I know you just got there, and I know that you're still collecting information. Do we know if the shooting happened? I see the tape around there. So did the shooting happen outside or within the Winter Green Apartments?
Yeah, again, let me just tell you, I believe it's called Winter Garden Apartments for the record. We don't know that at this point, Kelly. Again, we just got here, a source telling us that this all happened we believe, at or near an apartment at this apartment building. Winter Garden Apartments is the location. I just don't know right at this point. I'm going to try to talk to folks to find out more, but that's all I can tell you. Again, we know that 3 officers were wounded, 1 shot, 1 stabbed, and we're still trying to find out what are the injuries of that 3rd officer. Kelly,
all right, well, great work, Robert. We'll check back in shortly when you are able to gather some more information. Yeah.
So we want to give you an update again. As Robert said, this has been an officer-involved shooting. 3 officers have been injured. We know 1 has been shot, 1 has been stabbed. We do not know the extent of their injuries. And this happened in the 5700 block of Kingsbury. And these officers have been taken to Barnes Jewish Hospital. 1 suspect has also been taken to the hospital.
That is correct.
We are told another suspect is in custody. We
got a statement not too long ago from St. Louis Police when we inquired, and they confirmed at the time we had an officer shot in the 5700 block of Kingsbury. The spokesperson says, I do not have the circumstances at this time, but 1 subject was taken into custody. The officer was conscious and breathing and was transported to the hospital by another officer. Further details will be provided once available.
So that is good news, knowing at least the officer was conscious when he arrived at the hospital. We do have Holden Kuricki. He is live at Barnes Jewish Hospital, where a number of officers are there right now. Holden, can you hear us?
And I'm not sure if he's ready yet, but we want to get at least to the live image that is in place right there at Barnes. You can see several police officers outside of the entrance of that hospital.
And again, one was shot, one was stabbed, and apparently one of the officers took the other officer to the hospital. And this is so far this year, 3 officers have been shot so far this year. The other 2, it happened in February near Soulard Market, so that kind of gives you a perspective of the situation so far this year. And we don't know the extent of the injuries of the 3rd officer who was injured, so we're still waiting to hear word on that.
And you could see from Robert's live images not too long ago, and we see Holden getting in place. Holden, are you ready for us to take you now? What are you learning? What are you seeing right there?
Well, at this time, what I'm hearing is that 1 officer was shot, 1 was stabbed, and there's a 3rd in an unknown condition. The suspect in this case is also at the hospital. All 4 are currently being treated at Barnes Jewish Hospital, which you see behind me. I'm going to step out of the way, and you can see there is a large police presence here. A number of officers gathering around. They actually had blocked off 2 lanes of the highway, here by Barnes Hospital, so that they can get those ambulances into the emergency and trauma center just a little quicker. You can see a number of St. Louis police officers huddled together discussing the situation. This is still very early on in their investigation, so details are slow to be released to us, but we will continue to monitor the situation here outside of the hospital and bring you live updates on air and online as more information comes into us here at the scene and into our newsroom. But for now, I'm going to send it back to you in the newsroom. I'm reporting live outside of Barnes Jewish Hospital. Holden Kurwicki, 5 on your side.
All right, Holden, before you go, any traffic impacts where you are? I mean, behind you, it seems like traffic is flowing pretty smoothly. This is at the height of rush hour. Any impacts outside of the hospital?
Yes, Brent, actually, that is something. If you are going to be traveling through this area, make sure you give yourself plenty of time because, again, there are a number of lanes here outside of the hospital that are blocked off, actually 2 of the 4 lanes that run by the hospital. So people will need to give themselves plenty of time as they try and travel through here. It actually took us about 20 minutes to get here from downtown. Usually that's less than 10 minutes. So if that gives you any idea of how backed up traffic is, then again, go ahead and give yourself plenty of time if you are trying to come through this area, because the most important thing is the safety of these officers.
Absolutely. We've got Holden Kurwicki reporting live. Holden, thank you for that report.
Right, and of course, taking them to Barnes Jewish, Barnes Jewish is they are highly equipped to handle situations like this. So they are in excellent hands, and thankfully, they were not too far from Barnes Jewish
from
either.
The scene, that's correct.
Yeah, we want to check in once again with Robert Townsend at the scene of this shooting. Apparently, Robert, you have someone you want to talk to?
Yeah, I'm talking to a lady who lives here, and again, she just walked over to tell us. What can you tell us as far as what you know as far as what happened here this afternoon, ma'am?
All I know is that 2 police officers had been shot in here. And I don't know who did it or what.
And you say his family members of a man who lives on the 3rd floor, they wanted the officers to check on him?
Yeah, check on them. They was concerned about their family.
And you saw him being arrested?
I seen when they brought him out. No, I left.
In handcuffs?
No,
So the family wanted officers to check on this man?
They couldn't get entrance into the apartment to check on their family members unless a police officer was present. That's how the police officers got here.
Did you hear gunshots?
I didn't. I left. I stayed next door and I exit after I seen them
How startling
go
is all this, knowing that this is happening right here at your place?
Yes.
How startling is all this?
Correct.
How startling is it?
It's very startling.
Yeah. Alrighty. So again, we're just talking to people out here, just trying to find out exactly what happened. But you heard her say that family members of a man who lives in this building at the Winter Garden Apartments on the 3rd floor, they came here. They were concerned about their loved one. He wouldn't open the door. Apparently, this is all again according to people who live here. It got confrontational. They're telling me that they heard this man fire a gunshot. They saw police come escort him out in handcuffs, and at this point we're still trying to gather more information, but that's the latest that we have from this scene. Again, the initial information we got, again, you guys, in the last hour or so, 3 St. Louis police officers being wounded, 1 being shot, a second one suffering stab wounds, and we are still trying to gather information to find out what are the extent of the injuries of the 3rd officer. Kelly,
All right.
Brent, back to you guys.
Thank you for
Thank
that,
you,
Robert.
Robert.
So, according to that witness, right?
Right.
A welfare check, which we know police perform all the time, and we thank them for their work and their service of what they do. But in this situation, it obviously turned dangerous.
Yeah, and we have some new information also into the newsroom. The officer attempted to approach the suspect as EMS arrived, and that is when, according to police, the suspect fired shots from a gun in his pocket. One officer was hit in the shoulder. He is in stable condition. The 2 other officers their hands were injured when they were struggling with the suspect. That's the latest information that we are getting from the newsroom.
All right, we want to get back to another live report. Holden Kurwicki has an update for us from Barnes Hospital. Holden, are you there?
St. Louis Metro Police, again, have blocked off 2 lanes of Kings Highway out here, out front of BJC. I'm going to step out of the way so I can give you a view of what's really taking place. You can see there is an officer out here trying to direct traffic. This is right in the middle of rush hour at this point, and there's a lot of traffic, a lot of backup trying to get in here. We want to show you this right now. There's an emotional reunion going on out here. You can see officers hugging some people, out here. They were actually just trying to get into the parking lot. Very emotional. Again, 1 officer shot, 1 stabbed, another suffering from wounds, and the suspect has also been shot. All 4 have been taken here to BJC. We are awaiting a possible update or briefing from St. Louis Metro Police at this time. But again, this is very early on in the investigation. We'll continue to provide updates, from the hospital as more information becomes clear. I'm going to step back in to send it back to you guys in the studio. Brent, Kelly, back to you.
All right, Holden, thank you so much for that update.
Yes, and we want to check in with Travis Cummings. Apparently, maybe one of the other officers was taken to SLU Hospital. Travis, what can you tell us?
Yeah, Kelly, I just got here to SLU SSM Health, and I definitely see a presence. St. Louis Fire, St. Louis Police, EMS was here outside of the emergency room. This is as far as I can get. I'm actually going to flip the camera around so I can kind of show you a few of the cars, and I may be able to zoom here, but some of those emergency vehicles, again, are sitting right outside of the emergency room. When I was pulling up here to the scene here at SLU, I did see them taking a stretcher out of the ambulance and rolling it into the ER. So yes, again, we do have a huge presence of first responders out here, and so it's evident that there is one of those officers are here at the emergency room here at SLU. I'm gonna stick by and find out what else I can find out here in a couple of minutes.
All right, Travis, thank you for that update. Go ahead and see what you can find out for us, and we'll check back in with you.
So let's do a recap. This happened, an officer-involved shooting in the 5700 block of Kingsbury. This is in the, I guess you could say, the DeBolivar neighborhood of the Central West End. 3 officers were injured. 1 was shot that we know of, is in stable condition, shot in the shoulder. Another officer was stabbed. We don't know the condition of the 3rd officer, possibly taken to SLU Hospital. We want to get another update from Robert Townsend.
That's right.
Back
Robert
at the scene.
is on scene as well. What do you got, Robert?
Hey there, Brett. I've been walking around this parking lot just trying to talk to folks. Again, not a whole lot has changed officially. Again, 3 St. Louis police officers, as you guys mentioned, wounded, 1 shot, 1 stabbed. Again, this picture out here at Kingsbury Place has not changed. We're seeing lots of officers just standing around. We're seeing detectives also in the background there talking to any apparent witnesses about what neighbors saw, what residents of this apartment building saw, what they heard. But again, lots of officers here basically just standing by, again, collecting information. I'm seeing officers on their cell phones, obviously, but we've not officially had a chance to talk to anybody just yet. I'm still trying to get a public information officer here and to give us the latest, but I'm hearing you guys pretty much give that to the public. But again, the scene out here is just really startling and shocking. A lot of neighbors, these folks here, Jimmy, if you pan over to the left, just kind of show them these people who I'm talking about. These residents, from what I understand, they were not evacuated. These folks that I'm looking at were just arriving home this afternoon. They got wind of a shooting incident here, and they're stuck out here in the parking lot pretty much. You see them sitting out here because they're unable to get inside the building. But again, we just talked to a lady who lives here, and she says this afternoon police were called to a third-floor apartment where this man, her neighbor, was confrontational with officers, and they're calling him a nice guy, but obviously he's the suspect in question at the root of all of this. But again, they're telling me that family members were concerned about this man. He was uncooperative with them, and he got confrontational when he saw the officers, and again, that's when all this broke out. We're staying on top of this, but that's the latest from here. Back to you guys.
All right, Robert, thanks for that update. I can tell you that this unfolded, we got confirmation around 4:45, and you can see it's almost 5:30 now, still a very active scene. A reminder of the injuries involving those 3 officers who were hurt. The suspect fired shots from a gun in his pocket. This is what we're hearing from sources. One officer was struck in the shoulder and is stable. The other officer sustained injuries to their hands during a struggle with the suspect.
And you know, when they get into these situations, police officers, they never know what they're entering.
That is
You know,
true.
when it
That is
becomes
true.
a domestic situation or a welfare check, they don't know what situation it will be, what they are approaching. So it's always, you know, a scary situation because it's the unknown.
Right.
You know. So we want to check in with Holden again. You have an update, Holden? He's at Barnes Jewish Hospital.
Officers arriving here on scene. Again, this is still a fluid scene out here, and the biggest issue right now seems to be the traffic here on Kings Highway. We keep reiterating that it is the middle of rush hour right now, and St. Louis Metro Police are trying to set up out here and direct traffic to keep people moving, not only to get them where they need to go, but also to get the emergency personnel in here to the hospital at any point. So that's something we are continuing to follow throughout the morning. You can see there are people greeting each other outside, a lot of hugs, a lot of people crying out here, but we will continue to send it back to you in the studio.
All right, Holden, thanks for that. We want to get back to SLU now, and we have Travis Cummings, who's live at SLU, to show us what he's seeing right now. Travis, can you hear us?
Hey Brent, I can hear you, and I just kind of wanted to get the shot straight on SLU Hospital right now. I just saw an air evac helicopter land. It's unclear who is actually in that helicopter, but I just wanted you to know that that's there. We still see a heavy first responder presence outside of the emergency room doors. I saw St. Louis Fire, St. Louis Police, EMS is also here. I also saw St. Louis Sheriff's Office. They also have a presence here outside of the emergency room. So it is evident that one of those officers, at least one of them, are here at SLU Hospital's emergency room. So I'm continuing to keep an eye. This is as far as we can get on the property, but I'm going to continue keeping an eye on this scene here at SLU Hospital. Brent?
Travis, we appreciate it. Thank you. Kelly, I believe we're learning a little more about what led up to all of this.
Right. Apparently the 3 officers, they were doing some kind of a check.
That's right.
On the suspect. We are told, we do have confirmed that the suspect is possibly a senior citizen.
Correct.
So once we get more information on that, but we do know that they are also at Barnes Jewish with 2 of the officers. We think the 3rd officer is at SLU SSM Health, where Travis Cummings is.
That's right. According to our source as well, apparently the suspect wasn't answering his phone, but the caller could hear it. And of course, that relative got concerned and asked police to get involved.
So when you get into these situations where it's a welfare check, these officers do not know what they are getting into. And this is unfortunately what has happened. Again, one of the officers who was shot in the shoulder is in stable condition. 2 of the other officers have injuries to their hands with a struggle with the suspect. This is a developing situation as we continue to bring you this. This happened around 4:45.
That's when we confirmed that it happened.
Right, and this was in the 5700 block of Kingsbury.
We have more live images to get to you right now. I believe we're going to go to Robert Townsend, who's live at the scene of the apartment complex where this all originated. Hey there, Robert.
Hey there, Brent. I've been talking to several folks who live here at the Winter Garden Apartments about all of this. Jillian Atkins, you've lived out here for about 7 years?
Yes.
Tell me about it. You said you were outside here outside when all this happened. What were you doing?
I was outside trying to get some air and not having to see a lot of policemen running in. So they saying some gunshots for us, so I got scared and ran off on this lot and for clearance.
What's your thoughts now as we hear that several police officers were hurt, one shot, one stabbed, and we don't know the condition of a third one? What are your thoughts for those officers?
They live in
I mean, they're alive.
dangerous life, and they taking risk for a lot of people out here.
How scary, startling, upsetting is it to see all this happening here at your apartment complex?
Yeah, pretty scary, and got to be more aware of it, the safety in this area.
Have the police been called out here like this in the past since you've been here? Have you ever seen this many police officers out here, or is this the first time?
First time. It's first time seeing the police here.
What are you going to do now? I mean, you can't get into your apartment right now.
I guess I have to wait till they clear, and then tell us when we can go in.
All righty, Jillian, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Again, not much has changed, you guys, out here. Lots of folks who live here still talking to reporters about what they saw, what they heard. We've not officially, I've been asking these officers here between breaks, when will we hear from a police sergeant? They tell us there's a white shirt, if you will, a lieutenant, a captain here, and as soon as we can get to that guy, we'll pass on that latest. Back to you guys.
Okay, and we want to also let you know that Police Chief Robert Tracy is at Barnes Jewish Hospital, and we will, of course, bring you the very latest on this officer-involved shooting. 3 officers shot. 1 is in stable condition. We're still getting more information on the other officers.
And of course, our local news coverage continues at 6, but for now, we want to take you to NBC Nightly News.